You are listening to The Black Landscape with Andrea Spearman, where Black excellence is always trending. Welcome back, everyone. This is your host, Andrea Spearman. We're in season 2 of The Black Landscape. So today we are joined by fashion creator and stylist, Dieudonné Brou. Welcome.
Hey, welcome. Thanks for having me.
So we're super excited to talk to you today. Let's start at the beginning. Talk to us about your upbringing in West Oakland, your family.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. So, man, I'll try. It's hard to tell this story and try to keep it short, but pretty much, my father is from Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, West Africa. We're a Khan, Ashanti, well, technically an ethnic group of Baole. My dad came here in 82, 83, met my mother, well, now who's African American. Our folks are originally from East Oakland by way of Texas, Plano, Texas. So, they met in the 80s. What a wonderful time to be alive at during that time, so I can only imagine, what that was like. What brought my parents together or whatnot. 87, that's when I was born. I was actually born at UCSF in San Francisco, and then grew up in West Oakland for a portion of my childhood. And then I did spend some time. I did live in East Oakland for a little bit, and then I end up, moving all around different parts of the Bay Area. So I spent some time in Fillmore, lived in North Richmond. By the time I got to high school, I was about to begin my freshman year at McClymonds High School, but my dad was like, "I moved to Pittsburgh." Look at you.
Boo.
at Mac. Yeah, I was about to be at Mac.
Boo, McClymonds.
Come on, boo.
Just kidding. That's all right. We got love for McClymonds. It's okay.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. But yeah, and then my dad's like, "No, I'm in Pittsburgh. You moving out here with me?" So end up in Pittsburgh and end up graduating from Mount Diablo High School. Yeah, West Oakland's my home. I claim it all day. So no matter what, like that's where I have the most fondest memories. For me to develop my identity, West Oakland is literally where I learned everything, the game, all that stuff. So yeah, that's always gonna be home, no matter what.
So what would you say would be things you learned growing up in a dual diasporic home of having, a parent, Black American, a parent from the Ivory Coast?
Yeah, so interesting enough, my mother, and this is crazy that you asked this question because recently during Mother's Day, we're having a conversation, and my mother was telling me, like, I deliberately sought out your father because I wanted my kids to know where they come from. I wanted them to have direct access to their roots. I want them to have African names. I want them to know their culture. Like she was very intentional about that. Unfortunately, they got divorced. My dad actually ended up getting custody of me and my younger sibling. Technically grew up in an African household. My dad speaks multiple languages. It's French being spoken in the house. My ethnic tongue, Baule, is being spoken.
You shared with me that, early in your life, you got caught up in the school to prison pipeline. Mm-hmm. If you will, please share what that means.
Well, basically, the school to prison pipeline is where, during the time in the early 90s, you had the zero tolerance policies that started getting in place, in our schools, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know everyone's familiar with the term super predator, right? Where they're criminalizing Black and brown boys as these demons, monsters, uncontrollable sexual deviants that are terrorizing our neighborhoods and killing and doing all this stuff. 3 strikes law gets passed. So now you start to see this emerging thing with mass incarceration taking place. Me, my first time actually being sent to jail in the 6th grade, I was at Frick Middle School, got into a disagreement with the teacher. The teacher calls the police on me or whatnot and has me escorted, and then to the point where I actually end up at the juvenile hall in Hayward or whatnot. So like that was my beginning of getting caught up in the school to prison pipeline. By the time I'm 17, 18, again, I'm at Mount Diablo High School in Concord. I'm living with my dad in Pittsburgh. Again, I'm still trying to, develop an identity for myself. Yeah, I was playing sports. People knew me for dancing and all that stuff too, but also had basically a double life. I was in the streets a lot. And from that point, when I turned 18, that's when I'm on my way to prison, where I would spend about 6.5 years before coming home.
Yeah, and we the thing is we have to talk about our past so that way we can move into our future.
Hmm.
And clearly that changed something for you. After that experience, how did you shift your purpose?
So it really, honestly, it started during my time while I was incarcerated. When I got to San Quentin, I was 19 years old, and I was scared. I remember going to West Block and seeing these. In my mind, I imagine them being 20-foot doors. I just know these doors are hella big, and they open like you walk into a damn castle or something. I just how I remember it. I remember walking in there, and the first thought I said to myself is, "Oh, I'm not coming back." That was the first thing I uttered to myself. I'm not coming back.
Mm,
And I didn't know what was going to lay in front of me when I transferred from West Block at San Quentin, and they placed me in High Desert, which is a level 4 maximum security prison.
oh my.
Or whatnot. There was a race riot that kicked off, and where I was stabbed in my back in my sleep, and
Oh.
yeah, during the race riot, and I'm fighting. I'm pretty much fighting for my life. At that moment, after I
Mm,
come out of that, I end up getting sent to solitary confinement, or what they call the hole, for 6 months. And they said the reason why I was sent to the hole is because it was for attempting to incite a riot, right? So they thought I was going to retaliate, or I was part of the group of people that were going to
mm,
retaliate. Mind you,
mm-hmm.
most of the OGs on the yard, the sergeants, they knew who I was. I was babyface. I barely had any facial hair on my face, but they either could find me talking about sports, they could find me talking about music, they could find me
Mm.
reading a newspaper, or they could find me in the library reading books. Those are the things I was doing. Or
AKA minding your own business.
minding my own business, right? I had my dad at the time. I hadn't spoke to my dad the whole time while I was incarcerated. My younger siblings, who are at this time now at Sac State and at University of North Carolina, they would send me their textbooks after every semester. I didn't have money, so I would play basketball during the yard, and I would use that to gamble so I can get soap and get noodles and stuff like that for my room. And one thing a lot of the OGs on the yard knew about me is my cell, gang of books in there. I had a gang of books. I was always reading. And
Mm-hmm.
fast forward to the inciting a riot piece. So they pull me out of the hole, and I go to meet with the lieutenant and one of the wardens. And one of the first things that comes out their mouth is, "Why do I have so much black literature in my room or in my cell?" I was taken aback because that question didn't make sense. I thought,
Mm-mm.
we're
Why
talking
not?
about right. My cellie at the time also happened to be a lifer. I got lucky. I had 3 lifers that I celled with during my time that were cool. Usually there's like horror stories and other things that have happened that people talk about. But me, luckily, I was lucky to have some cool fellows. And the OG I was in with at this time, he had a gang of books too. So we were always debating and
Mm,
having these intellectual, philosophical conversations about the stuff that we're reading. So that was like perfect for me. When he asked me about my books, I was like, well, because I like reading. Unbeknownst to me, they went in our cell. They raided our cell, to tore up the books, flushed them in the toilet. They destroyed everything, all our stuff or whatnot, because we
oh.
literally had a mini library in there. But from that moment, that's when the light switch went off. It was like, oh, they're afraid that I'm enlightening myself, or I'm becoming a better person. I'm planning not to come back. And it
Mm-hmm.
took me back to those words I uttered when I first got to West Block. I ain't coming back. So that's like the second iteration of it. Then when I during my time in the hole, and I tell you, like from that point, I had already had a high school diploma. I went and got my GED anyways. I tried to enroll in college courses while I was in there.
Mm-hmm.
I would try to reach out to my brother and my sister. I mean, I didn't expect them to write me like that anyways, but if they did respond, cool. But I was always trying to find resources, different things that I can do to sort of just help improve myself. Whatever little bit of knowledge, information, the better. By the time I get home, I'm going to have a game plan. Fast forward, my last year and a half was spent in fire camp. So I was doing wildland firefighting. A lot of people don't
Huh.
notice. Yeah, a lot of people don't notice. There's 44, or probably a little bit more than that, inmate fire camps throughout the state that actually go on the
Oh wow.
mountains. So when you see all those big old wildfires and stuff, there's inmates actually out there fighting those fires, and a lot of people don't know that. Oh, well, now there's a lot of I don't like saying inmates. There's a lot of our people that are in there fighting these fires, risking their lives. Some have actually lost their lives and
Mm-hmm.
never came home. because they're fighting fires.
Mm,
And the inmate firefighters saved the state like literally millions of dollars because they don't have to pay us.
mm,
They don't have to pay us a normal wage like a normal firefighter would get paid. So at the time, I was making about $1.45 a day, and I would make like $1 an hour,
child.
and I'm out here fighting fires. So
Mm, mm, mm,
but that was the closest thing to freedom. That's how I built up my work ethic.
mm-hmm.
I had a TV. I was eating better food. Had access to weights. I was, I can read. We're more in a camp-like setting. I could walk off the premises if I wanted to, but at that point, I was like so focused on trying to get home. That's what it was. And I remember like it was yesterday. I hadn't talked to my dad, mind you, for basically 6.5 years, but my dad was waiting for me at the gate to take me home.
Mm.
So, and then from there, Dad asked me like, "What you gonna do? You gonna work or you going to school?" I said, "Well, I ain't gonna be able to get a job. Mind you, I'm 24 years old, just got out of prison. I ain't getting no job." I was like, "I'm going to school," and yeah, the rest takes off from there.
It's amazing how the state will use our people, you know, our incarcerated folks. And we there's another episode that does talk about the Ella Baker Center that
Yes,
focuses,
I'm familiar with them.
yeah, and like they focus on, justice for our incarcerated people. And it's just, oof. I got chills as you were talking about your experience. Like, I'm glad you made it out, brother.
Yeah, no doubt. And literally like it shaped my how I understand myself in the world like today. Again, I come home, I enroll at Diablo Valley College, and I was getting this information. There was counselors and people coming in saying, hey, when you get out, make sure you go to the EOPS office and ask for financial aid. I got to
Mm-hmm.
DVC. I said, hey, I heard that y'all giving out free money for me to go to school. I didn't know what that meant. I went directly to EOPS office, enrolled in my classes. Now I'm getting a $10,000 a year grant, right, to pay for my courses,
Mm-hmm.
and I got a couple $1,000s in my pocket. Cool. My dad is, he's supporting me. Like, okay, you can stay here as long as you're going to school. Do what you got to do. I was able to get off parole early, which typically doesn't happen for folks with violent felonies. My felony was for second degree strong arm robbery. So typically they tend to stay on parole the full 3 years. But because I've been, at school doing well, my professors could speak on my behalf. I have been building relationships with different CBOs, community based organizations. And then also I got accepted into UCLA to transfer to UCLA. That kind of was like, oh, okay, you know what? That's what allowed me to kind of get off parole a little bit early.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, you over there turning tragedy into triumph, okay?
no doubt.
Shifting your purpose.
Yep, no doubt.
So let's take a short break right now, and we're going to hear from our sponsor. To catch up on previous episodes of The Black Landscape, stream on Apple and Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Anchor.fm, and Spotify. Hey everybody, this is your girl Andrea. I also host an audio series about dance movement artists in the San Francisco Bay Area called In Conversation. Guests have included Malesio Estrella, Latanya D. Tigner, Vanessa Sanchez, and more. Take a listen with the link in the bio. It's also available to listen on our Instagram Linktree. And now, back to our show. We are back with Dieudonné Brou. So you last said that you were accepted and headed to UCLA. Say more.
Yes. So 2015 transferred to UCLA with about $45,000 in scholarship money, by the way.
Hey now.
And I was pretty much debt free again because of financial aid, doing work study and me applying for scholarships all the time. So I was always applying for scholarships. So by the time I transferred, I was pretty much set. I studied abroad in Ghana in 2016, which was a very important
Mm-hmm.
experience for me because that was one of my first times being back in West Africa as an adult. I had never been as an adult. I had been as a
Mm-hmm.
as a as a young person, but I hadn't been as an adult. I went to visit my great grandfather's village in Ofensu, which is one of the five major ethnic groups that founded the Ashanti Confederation or whatnot. So I was in Kumasi and Ofensu all the time. and then I would take trips to Cote d'Ivoire. I would take the bus. Actually, the bus from Accra to Abidjan is the same distance from Oakland to LA. It's the same. It's the
Oof.
same distance.
God
So
bless you.
yeah, I would take the bus. But I mean, it was beautiful just seeing the countryside, seeing
Mm.
the landscape, everything. It was very beautiful. And my grandfather, coincidentally enough, at one time was feeding the prisons in Ivory Coast
Mm.
during the time when Houphouët Boigny, the first president of Cote d'Ivoire, was alive. My grandfather's plantation, cocoa plantation, and stuff like that was helping to feed several of the prisons in Ivory Coast and won all kinds of agricultural. Well, I didn't even know that, So even how it's connected now to the work that I do is really it's really amazing to see that. Graduated in 2017. Moved back up to Oakland. I got restless. I was barely I barely graduated, and next thing you know, I got an internship with an organization called ACIP, the Alameda County Children of Incarcerated Parents Partnership, and a black woman by the name of Carol Burton, very important person in my life, my mentor. She was the one that pretty much gave me my first job.
Mm.
And mind you, I can't check off the box. When they do background checks on me, and this is with me now with degrees, they do the background check. 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to get hired. But she was the first one to give me a job. So I owe a lot of gratitude to her because from me being in that space, that also allowed me to get the internship with the Ella Baker Center. And then also from there, I started doing work at Urban Peace Movement. Dr. Prince
Mm.
White, the late Dr. Prince White at the time, he discovered me in a meeting, he heard me speaking. He was like, bro, I need you to come talk to our young black men in our Black Men Determination men's group at Urban Peace Movement. So I came
Mm-hmm.
through there and, the connections I made there, that type of space, it was perfect. There's not too many safe spaces where it's just black boys, black men actually being together in safe space and talking about things that are affecting all of us and being able to do that
Mm-hmm.
and be vulnerable. So, DMG provided that for me as well as got me even more embedded into the work. And then from there, I actually go to work with the East Bay Agency for Children, doing a lot of trauma informed, trauma restorative type justice work with,
Mm-hmm.
at risk youth or whatnot that are dealing with a lot of mental health issues. That was very exhausting, very exhausting. It's very
Yeah,
exhausting.
that work can be very heavy on on the soul.
Yes, and Nicole Lee, who's the executive director of Urban Peace Movement in 2020, reached out to me and was like, "Hey, we have a position open. If you're interested, um, feel free to come join us." And this was right when the pandemic started, by the way, too.
Mm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. And then from there, yeah, I've been there ever since as their youth advocate programs initiatives coordinator at Urban Peace Movement. I facilitate our Black Men's Determination Group Circle. I also co-facilitate our Free Our Kids Coalition, about 10 partner organizations that make up the Free Our Kids Coalition. And pretty much we are in the office with the district attorney, with the probation office, in the juvenile hall, and trying to, push the board of supervisors of Alameda County and other stakeholders to address the issues, find alternatives, reimagine what youth justice actually can look like in Alameda County that doesn't involve putting our young people behind cages.
So, with all of that experience, how does that how did that transform to fashion for you?
Oh, so
How did we get
okay.
there?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. So and usually when I tell people this, people like they don't understand how all this stuff is connected. So one, my grandfather Yao Badu Brou, who was that owned the cocoa plantations that I was speaking about earlier. When he came from Ghana to Ivory Coast, he was actually known as a barber. Yeah, he was known as like a hairstylist, a barber, and he would dress fly all the time. And in order for my grandfather to marry my grandfather was tasked with going to cultivate, this parcel of land or whatnot. If he was able to, cultivate it and produce some, fruit or whatever it is out of that land or whatnot, he'd be able to marry my grandmother. Well,
Oh, I see.
yeah, so it was a challenge there because my grandfather, he always suited and booted. So literally, he on the plantation in a suit, right?
Hold on,
getting to
pops.
work.
What's
Yeah, grandpa getting to work, and he always and like my grandfather literally be up early in the morning cleaning his teeth and stuff, always cutting his hair, like getting ready, and then he go out to work. That is something that's kind of like in my blood, like style and fashion. It's just
mm,
there. I think culturally also back home, like you never see people leave the house not dressed unless they're going to the market or something like that to go do stuff. But even the you can look at a place and be like, damn, that looks crazy. But you see people coming out dressed to the nine, going to wherever it is that they're going. So that's just something that's
mm-hmm.
just was embedded in me in our household. And my younger sister, she had been in my ear like, hey, uh, you need to start a shoe brand. You need to, you need to just launch your own shoes. People are always looking at you. They always ask you about your clothes and your shoes. At UCLA, I was known as a person that dressed well, always had nice shoes all the time. So everybody knew exactly. They could spot me from a mile away. Oh, that's D. Oh, that's Dieudonné. Oh, that's Kofi. Oh yeah, that's Kofi. Yeah, they knew it was me. So in 2019, I wake up and I'm like, I'm about to launch the brand. And it all started from a, a DM I sent Steven Jackson at like 5:30 in the
Mm-hmm.
morning. Like I sent him a DM. He was on ESPN at the time, getting ready to do an interview, and I remember it like
Mm-hmm.
it was yesterday. He had on a navy double-breasted peak lapel suit, pinstripe,
Mm,
and he had
okay.
on and he had on some like these cognac Oxfords. And I immediately was drawn to the shoes. I was like, damn, those are nice. I sent him a DM. Hey, where you get your shoes from? I didn't think he was gonna respond. Hey, 20 minutes
Right.
later, the phone go out. I'm like, whoa, what? He was like, yeah, I got them from my boy out of Houston. Check them out. Send me the link to the website, everything. I went to go check it out, and I'm looking at the shoes. I'm like, man, I've seen these somewhere. The next morning, I wake up because I follow a lot of shoe pages on
Mm-hmm.
Instagram. And how this connects back to my sister. For several years, I had been telling my sister like, I can't find manufacturers. I can't find these people. I don't know where to look. I mean, I would try to do
Mm-hmm.
research, but it's super hard. It's really super hard to find shoemaking factories and families and stuff, things of that nature. It's really obscure. You don't know. They don't really have samples up. You have to really like do a lot of digging. So that next morning, I'm scrolling through the shoe pages like I always do, and I I see a link in the bio. I click the link in the bio. It's a shoe manufacturer. I said, oh. At that point, I told myself, okay, you got to start it now. You got no more excuses, no more now. So I stayed up till
The
about like,
bell has rung. Ding,
yep,
ding, ding.
yep,
Here you go.
yep. I stayed up till 1 a.m. and made a phone call on WhatsApp to Spain. I didn't know if they was going to speak English or not. A lady by the name of Rosa, very nice lady, by the way. She answered the phone speaking English. I was like, whoa. I was like, now I was like, okay, I really have to go in now. And I talked to her. I was on the phone with her about 4 or 5 hours.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she broke the whole thing down because I had so many questions. I didn't know what to do, where to start, where I need to know. Um, she even referred me to three other uh, uh, shoemaking families as well in Spain, also.
Mm,
So I was like,
okay.
oh, that's different. I was like, that's different because people always talking about
Yeah.
competitors. It's like, nah. She was
Mm,
like, no,
they be
you
trying
need
to
to,
gatekeep the secrets.
yeah. But she was like, nah, check all these people out, and then you make your decision from there. So I went and did that. Everybody work was phenomenal, but because Rosa provided me that type of experience, right? Because especially when it comes to Black folks trying to get into commerce and do business stuff like that, they gatekeep a lot of information. We get charged double. We're not able to get those um, I want to say discounted things on certain materials or items and things that we need so we can actually scale and grow our businesses and stuff like that. So, and it's not that many Black manufacturers. I know there are some, but we got to, again, it's hard to find them, but it's almost like we don't exist. So, like, even trying to get connected to that, you know, could be difficult. So, she helped me set my whole thing up. I sent my logos in because I had already designed the logos, sent everything in, and I ordered a couple samples. As soon as they came, I was like, okay, I'm locked in. This who we running with, and yeah, and then from there, from May, what is it, May 5th of 2019, that's when I launched Kofi Noir, and yeah, and the rest has been history. So
Oh, what an exciting journey. Shout out to Miss Rosa for being just kind and welcoming. Because exactly as you said, the folks be trying to keep us out of every time we trying to grow.
Hmm. No doubt.
Mm-hmm. Well, thanks, Miss Rosa. We God's gonna bless you.
Yes, no doubt. So
Yeah, so that's the origin story.
that's the origin story. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And talk about the brand more. Tell the people what it's
So
all about.
pretty much, I wanted to, um, embark on something that's a little bit different. Again, the shoe industry is a very big. It's a very big market. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we talk about hundreds of billions of dollars in the market alone. Whether it's sneakers, whether it's classic handmade Goodyear welted shoes, you name it. There's so much variety, so many options out there, and it's enough money for everybody to get in and get their slice. Right. So my in my mind, I was like, you know what? I want to get in and get my slice. I have a unique story to tell, or whatnot. And ultimately, Kofi Noir is about talking about this journey that a person goes on, and I want our shoes to be a part of that person's journey to self actualization. That's pretty much like the baseline story of that. On the backdrop, however, I'm telling another story of Black folks and their journey throughout the diaspora, and what I want Kofi Noir to represent for my community, for the Black community, for the African diaspora, is when they put on a pair of our shoes, they're able to share that story and cultivate that community with us. There's not too many places where you're going to be able to get you a Goodyear welted shoe for under $500 and be able to keep a shoe with you for decades at a time, being able to resole it. Right? We're in the age now where Gen Zers are on this sustainability, upcycling
Mm-hmm.
clothing and stuff like that. Goodyear welted shoes fit right in that because now you're not buying multiple sort of shoes and synthetics and stuff like that. You're actually buying shoes that's meant to last.
Yeah, so you were saying before that, you're creating quality shoes, quality footwear that'll sustain you over the years, right?
Yeah, no doubt. And most people, anyway, I'm about to nerd out now talking about shoes, but basically,
That's all right.
most people, and it's not to say that a lot of consumers don't know, but I don't think people understand actually what goes into making shoes. And the reason why shoes are priced at the way that they are. So, prime example for a lot of sneakerheads out there that love them, their Jordans, that love their Air Force Ones, Air Maxes, Pumas, you name it. People don't know that for an actual mold for the sole of the shoe can cost multiple thousands of dollars.
Mm,
And when a company is trying to provide a full line of shoes, a full scale of shoes. And what that means is, let's say the smallest size is a 7 and the biggest size is a size 17. We're talking about
mm.
thousands and thousands of dollars just to make that in whole sizes. That doesn't include the half sizes, and it doesn't
Whew.
include the wide sizes as well, right? So where do they cut corners at? On the uppers of the sneaker, right? Where they start using synthetics, right?
Mhm.
Or polyurethane, and they start using all these other types of materials because they're cheaper to make, and then you can make these shoes really quick and get your money back, and then you upsell them for $300-400. Excuse me, for $300-400 or whatnot. And then because it's polyurethane, synthetic, the shoe's gonna break. It's gonna break down within, depending on how the person wears the shoes. By the way, the shoe will break down within a year and a half, maybe 3 years, 4 years if you take real good care of them. Right? When you're
I know I wore my tennis shoes down to the ground.
right, and then think about this for a second. You spent $250. You wore the shoe into the ground, and then you can't even take the sneaker to get resoled to get a new sole put on the shoe.
Mm-mm.
Right? Now, I get it. when you get to like the leather shoes with the leather soles and things like that, I mean, people don't want to dress fancy all the time. We live in California, by the way, so it's a little bit more casual. So people are not trying to be suited and booted, even though my creative director, Michael Wayne, you're going to see him in a suit all the time. You're probably going to catch me in a suit every now and then or whatnot, but I'm more of the in-between athleisure type thing, but
Mm-hmm.
I'll put a suit on too.
Same.
But yeah, you like, if you're not into wearing suits and stuff like that, you're probably not going to see the value in wearing Oxfords or other types of shoes, right? Also, too, if you've never been exposed to it or didn't grow up wearing those types of shoes, that's not something you're going to look to, right? To spend $300-400 on, but that $400 is going to go further than the sneaker because you can actually take the sole, let's say, of a Oxford or a loafer that we provide, and when they start to wear out, when the heel starts to wear out, or the sole starts to start leaning and stuff like that, you could take it to a shoe cobbler and get you a new sole. And literally,
Mm.
you're resoling your shoes every 6 or 7 years.
Wow.
And now you got a shoe for like multiple decades that you can actually pass down to your kids. Also, what we're doing at Kofi Noir as well is our shoes are made to order. So I don't carry
Mm-hmm.
a lot of shoes. Um, yeah, we don't carry a lot of shoes, and that's our way of contributing to the sustainability, right? Lessening our carbon footprint,
Mm-hmm.
and then also too not adding to waste. So when someone
Mm-hmm.
purchases a shoe from us, we let them know like it's going to take about 30 to 40 days to receive your shoe, but it's being made directly for you. So they're only using the exact amount of materials they need to build the shoe, and then I have it sent directly to your doorstep. We do have a free delivery service, so if you live within a 50-mile radius of Oakland or whatnot, I'll come hand deliver. Me or Michael will come hand deliver the shoe to you directly.
Y'all do?
Yep.
Look at that. Come on, special delivery. I love it.
Yeah, and really, what's been awesome over the last couple of years is being able to actually hand deliver the shoe to some of our clients and customers that have supported us, and just seeing their reaction, knowing that
Mm-hmm.
there's actually some time and care put into a shoe, and that they're going to have a quality made shoe that they can be proud of to walk in. And ultimately, that's the thing that we look forward to when someone purchases a pair of shoes from us. We do provide sneakers as well. We have this sneaker called the Musa Runner. It's our version of the Safari sneaker. It has Python. It has actual Python, ostrich on there, so
Ooh.
crocodile, and it has some leopard print and stuff like that on there. So and some nubuck suede, super nice shoes, super comfortable, and even those, when the sole wears out on that shoe,
Mm-hmm.
if you take them to a cobbler, they can install a new sole on those sneakers as well. They can put a new Vibram sole on there, and you got you still have your favorite pair of sneakers that are super comfy. So just stuff like that. I really, that's what really got me into wanted to launch a shoe brand. Anyways, I really just want to make sure folks just have nice shoes on their feet. That's really what it's about with me, and
Mm-hmm.
and then with that, we also get to explore the style piece. Me, I personally believe shoes are the foundation for everybody's personal style.
So
That's
from the toes up.
from the toes up. That's the first place people look. So why not get you a nice pair of shoes from us that can also be customized for your liking to fit your lifestyle or not, and then you'd be able to build a world around your shoes and stand out. So that
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's what we're really trying to do as a shoe brand. Just really offering something um, that our people mostly don't have access to, right? A lot of our folks don't have access to luxury, high end, made to order or bespoke type shoes where someone's coming and measuring their feet,
Mm-hmm.
because we do that also. We come measure your feet and actually take your measurements of your foot and actually build a shoe around your foot. Like, folks, they don't know that it's not too many of us that exist. So me being able to actually provide that type of service and access to that under $1,000, and low key under $500. Like that's like literally unheard of. But that's
Mm-hmm.
that's my entry point into being able to to provide that for folks.
Yeah, and that's interesting that you said that because in the last, I want to say 4 to 5, maybe 6 years, we're starting to see more Black luxury brands, and I'm truly proud of us and our people because it's folks like you that are taking that step. You're reaching out to people. You're digging deep. You're doing the research and figuring out how can how can I be amongst the people who are making it happen? How can I present this idea, but dripping in melanin, dripping in blackness, dripping in excellence? So tell us, what's the next steps for Kofi Noir?
So right now, the next steps is continuing to do our brand awareness. That's pretty much what we've been focused on the last couple of years. The pandemic
Mm-hmm.
um, kind of disjointed us a little bit. Again, I started in 2019, so I was pre-pandemic. I didn't know what I was doing, but what the pandemic did do for us is it allowed me to actually get a virtual presence, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
built, if you go to the website, I actually built that website myself. I mean, I use Shopify, of course, the platform, but I stayed up and put the whole website together myself. I stayed up for like 3 days, got the website up and running. I didn't have a website the first year. Pandemic allowed me some time to do that. I did a lot of relationship building with different stylists, different brands that I know of, Black owned brands or whatnot, because I also wanted Kofi Noir to be that space that's unafraid to promote other people's businesses. So if you go on our
Mm-hmm.
on one of the tabs, if you go to Black Luxury, you're going to see all the other Black brands on there, even some Black owned shoe brands, luxury shoe brands in there as
Mm.
well. Some people are like, why would you do that? Those are your competitors. I was like, no, they're not my competitors. Everybody, there's something for everybody. All of us are just here trying to get our piece. That's it. We're just trying to get our piece and do the thing that we love or whatnot. And also too, some people may not be ready to purchase certain types of shoes from me, but at least I like quality shoes. I like nice things. I can refer you to some other
Mm-hmm.
folks, and we should be okay with highlighting our brothers and sisters that are doing phenomenal work. We should be okay with referring folks to them to go have that experience with them, and be unapologetic
Absolutely.
about it. So um, that's one of the main things. That's one of the main things of brand awareness. The other thing too is developing our style curation service that we have, where we actually
Mm-hmm.
go and do closet editing. So we'll go straight to your house, edit the whole wardrobe for you, um, and help
Yes.
you develop a certain type of aesthetic or look that you're looking for. And then if there's depending on what we edit out of the wardrobe, then we can figure out what things we need to do to add to the wardrobe. Now, that doesn't mean you
Mm-hmm.
have to buy a pair of shoes from us. If you want some Ferragamos or you want your Pradas, your Gucci's or whatever, we will literally go shopping, source those items for you to have that in your wardrobe. Ultimately, it's about us trying to create you a versatile and functional wardrobe that fits your lifestyle. So we're
Mm-hmm.
developing that out right now. And then also, lastly, I'm working on developing some Kofi Noir capsule pieces that I will feature periodically throughout the seasons or whatnot. So, like this fall, there's going to be a couple of Kofi Noir crew necks, some
Okay.
knitted sweaters or something that we can add to the shoe. So, if you see some shoes that you like and you want to get a knitted sweater and some trousers, we'll have that readily for you so you can buy the whole fit. So it'd be little things like that as well. Also, we trying to get socks too. I don't know why I haven't gotten socks. I'm like, shoes need socks. Why I didn't get socks? So I'm in the middle supplying, getting some nice socks as well. So just little things like that. Going to pop
Mm-hmm.
ups and everything. And then, also we are planning our launch party because we never did one. So
Uh,
yeah, we never did
well,
one.
see,
So,
y'all cutting up. Come on.
but it's important. But this is very important for folks out there that's interested in actually, starting an entrepreneurial journey. There is no set list or check off list that you need to do. You just launch it and then you build as you go. You know,
Mm-hmm.
again, like I said, because of the pandemic, I haven't been able to do a launch party or gather in large gatherings. Now that stuff is starting to kind of open up or whatnot, venues need events. People need people coming to, to occupy their spaces. They're giving out rates. I'm going to be there. So that's something that we're developing. So you should be on the lookout. You should be hearing from us, me and Michael, with whatever the date is that we secure over the next 6 months or whatnot when we plan to do a launch party, just to really celebrate the brand, what we're doing, key folks into what we got going on over here. And then also me, because I want to cultivate a space for other Black brands, especially here in Oakland, because there's folks here in Oakland people don't know about. It's important that, I hope to be that person that cultivates that space where we all can come together, and be in that one place so people can, get behind what we got going on. And ultimately, that's what I want Kofi Noir to represent.
Yes, sir. Cooperative economics. And we're so excited to have this conversation, you and the Black Landscape will definitely be in the building for the launch party, and we'll definitely promote that as it comes up. So everyone stay tuned, to our social media and tell the people where they can find you.
Yeah, so you guys can find me on Instagram at Kofi_Black. That's KOFFI_BLACC. If you want to follow the Kofi Noir business page, just put at Kofi Noir. That's KOFFINOIR. If you're interested in purchasing a pair of shoes from us, send us an email at info@kofinoir.com. And yeah, and you can find us on YouTube as well. So just put Kofi Noir on YouTube, and you can check out our unboxing series that I do, where some clients' orders will come in, and you'll see me talk about the shoes, and you guys can kind of get a feel for what it is that we're trying to do at Kofi Noir.
Well, it's been wonderful chatting with you, dear brethren. And thank you all out there for listening and supporting another season. This has been another episode of The Black Landscape, where Black excellence is always trending.